So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
We are very happy that we could translate your book, Invitation to Social Construction.
Yeah, well, I'm enormously happy.
Yeah.
Partly because for me, it's an experiment in writing, experiment in relating.
Yeah.
I mean, to have one's work then interpreted and extended by someone or some group.
Yeah.
It's really an exciting experiment.
Yeah. So thank you for having this opportunity.
Okay.
So it's so great to see you and to talk about the book. And perhaps you can say some words about yourself. I know that you are your whole lifetime busy with social construction, you could say, and perhaps for many readers in the book in Dutch and Flemish context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm basically a scholar, psychologist, but I haven't always been engaged in social construction because you have to see what's in that book. It represents just a seismic shift in what's gone on in the academic world in the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huge changes in the way we understand the nature of knowledge, truth, human values, and the nature of what science should be.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up, I was not in that particular mode, but I've been very much part of a set of dialogue which have swept across now the world on these issues of truth, objectivity, and human values, and so on. So, that's mainly what I've been doing for the good part of my scholarly life.
Meanwhile, when we talk about social construction, it's spreading all over the world, I think. The last decennia, I think.
I mean, the way I see it now, originally, a lot of these ideas were trying to bring freedom to the way in which we do social science. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, there was a search for the truth, and that truth was going to be scientific truth. It was the only group in the world that could claim universal truth. Science, chemistry, and physics, universal truth. And that meant the way you study it and who can speak and so on was limited. Now, the main thing, if you look at the sort of center core of what's changed and the center core of that book, and it's really kind of simple. The center is simple, which is to say, look at perspectives, like science, not as the truth, but as a community which has a perspective, in the same way that religions have a perspective, or various groups of practitioners, of therapists have a perspective.
Education.
Educators have a perspective. So truth is created within those perspectives. Mm-hmm. That means that no one perspective has the right to say what's true for all. Mm-hmm. And it means if you've got multiple perspectives, you've got multiple ways you could understand the world, multiple things you could do with it. Yeah. It just opens up this arena for creativity, for the multiplicity of ideas, for the enrichment of each other instead of fighting as to who has the ultimate truth. At this point in the world, given the way in which cultures and nations have come together, and there are fights between nations, or fights between religion and science, or fights among religions and so on, if you can look at those more as perspectives, as not as fights for the ultimate truth, it just gives you a whole new way of understanding. Can I give you one example?
Yes, that would be great. Yeah.
In the search for truth, basically in the Western tradition at least, physical sciences, natural sciences have become the dominant tradition. Religion, on the other hand, has been pushed to the side. It's like a set of myths, not real knowledge. So religion becomes, at least in Western society, pushed out of education, pushed out of virtually, society in general. So churches, for example, become night spots for jazz and so on. Restaurants.
Yes.
Now, if you look at that as a fight for scientific truth, religion shouldn't be in that fight. That's not what they do. But if you look at what science lacks, which is any kind of ethic.
Mhm.
No human value is created there. Science itself doesn't care if you create a bomb and kill every person in the world. If it's good science, good science.
Yeah.
So there's no dialogue on human value. That dialogue does go on in religion. Religion may not be good at predicting crop growth, but it's very good in saying to each other, is that a good thing to do? And I really don't think that's right. We should not be eliminating all those people.
Yeah.
So it gives religion a value, but not the value that science has. It also invites a certain kind of humility about what I believe and what I use and think. That it's fine to have a perspective. It's fine, I think, to carry multiple perspectives. But you can do it with humility, and I even do it about social construction. I mean, that too is a way of looking at things.
It's one of the ways you can look at things. Social construction.
Yeah.
So you use the word social construction, which is always, I find, not always easy to explain. Now, the readers are perhaps new to social construction. When you would say it in very simple words, what is social construction, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's implied in what I've just said. Within a community, whether it be science, religion, art, music, whatever, people together develop the language. The language that they use doesn't come from any one person. It's built out of relationships. So anything I say, which is the truth, any proposition, the words I'm using come out of that community. So we construct together the nature of what we're counting as reality. We look at reality as physical. I look at it as spiritual. I look at it as artistic. I look at it as architectural. I look at it
from that angle.
And each language will come out of a different community, which together is creating that way of looking.
Well, we were very happy to have the opportunity to translate the book, because what you are telling, I think it's such a hopeful and important message for these days and also for the future.
Especially for these days.
To get along with each other, but then based on humility and based on respect and focus on what's best, not for me, but what's best for us.
How can we coexist?
Yes, how can we coexist? When you look very shortly about your experiences of practitioners using social construction, is there something, a story which comes into your mind that you think, wow, this is a story which is so much illustrating what it means to use this social constructionist thought?
And I think this is in the book, but I'm not sure.
Well, let's try.
I'm an undergraduate in university, and I'm invited to bring some of my friends and to be communications director for a big organization of presidents of corporations. We have to wear suits and so on. My best friend is someone I've had great awe for, very creative. In college, he could drop out and come back, having had a career for 6 months, being a guide in the Everglades. He spoke in metaphors. He read many books, and he was like a poet, living poet, spontaneous. I just thought, I've never met anyone like this. He's so fantastic. So I said, come with me and help me. We all dressed in suits, it's a very formal area. And one day I come back to my hotel room in this not very gorgeous hotel they put it in. And next door, Mac, who's his name, he has his room. And there's a guard in front of Mac's door. And I'm like, what the heck is this all about? The guard won't say anything. I go into my room, I try to call Mac. There's no answer. I look out the window at about a half hour, and they have Mac with hands tied behind his back. And they're taking him off with weapons. The people at the conference thought he was crazy. He talked to one group apparently about how you can talk with trees. They don't think talking with trees is normal.
Yeah, that's not what we do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they called the hotel manager and said, "Look, you've got this person. He's crazy. We're frightened."
Yeah.
They took Mac off. He ended up in a mental hospital. The next time I saw Mac, he was drugged. He was fat. He was like dull.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like they killed Mac.
It was not the same person anymore.
Not the same person.
Yeah.
This wonderful, spontaneous person.
Yeah.
In the name of psychiatry.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't talk the way we do,
yeah. If he doesn't
must
fit,
be ill, and we have the drugs for that.
Yeah.
And this is cure is I'm sitting there not saying anything that would upset anyone. And I say, who has the right to diagnose him in that way? This wonderful person, who has that right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of the beginning of suspicion of organized groups that said, look, this is the truth, or this is the way things are. So it just was like this built-in kind of movement away from accepted truth.
Yes, I can understand. So I can also see that it still is a touching story, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Which
remains with
which
me.
had a lot of impact, because you are telling the way we are used to do psychiatry was in this ways. And then in the end, when I look like this, I have treated the person. Almost, you could say, but that's not what you, of course, are talking about. You are talking about let's open the perspectives
try
of
to
treatment.
open the perspective to something else, and some kind of broader latitude in which that person would not be counted as ill.
Yes.
They would be counted as maybe different, maybe idiosyncratic, maybe a god.
I think that's perhaps one of the most important messages, I think, of social construction, that it's not about that this treatment or this perspective, which is very common, is wrong or fault or whatever, that you want to open the doors, you could say, for more perspectives than just this, because people are very easy to understand. Perhaps also when you are reading the book, that it's all about this is right and this is wrong. Social construction is the way, and what we are used to is not okay anymore. It can come for education, it can come for therapy or healthcare, So it's good to say this, I think, that it's not about this, but it's more to open up the dialogue about all these kinds of perspectives and trying to understand each other, I think, the difference from each other.
One of my exciting sort of moments in the last few years has been, again, this is constructionist oriented, where they developed a way of treating pretty severe cases, not as mentally ill, but drawing in people to have a dialogue. Bring family members, bring his friend, bring a minister who knows him, bring himself, bring a psychiatrist, bring a social worker, and let's talk about it. And they've had remarkable success in reducing the number of people who go on drugs, psychopharmacology, and reducing the number of people who are in mental hospitals. Because if we talk about it together, well, look, there's some other possibilities here. Maybe we could work together to help. And I love that movement.
So it counts for all these social domains, you could say, if it is education, therapy, or is healthcare, all these things also written in the chapters of the book. Again, when you invite more people, more perspectives into the situation, then you have a different kind of conversation, and perhaps also the options of solutions are increasing.
That's the hope.
Just to finish this short interview, what would you are writing in the foreword that you wish the reader to join the adventure and to still be critical and open about what's written in the book.
Because it's not a closed dialogue. These are ideas that are in motion.
They keep on.
No one owns them.
And
everybody's invited to participate, take it in directions
that are
useful.
To think about it. So what would you like to say as the last thing to the readers who are going to read the book?
Well, I hope that you can find ideas in there, examples. I hope you can find a relationship with me, the author. I hope you can draw from those who've drawn this into the Dutch and Flemish
Flemish.
culture, and that find ways in which this will enrich your own practices, your own life. It goes from the way we relate right now
Yeah.
into practices. It goes into the way we think about government and community. There are many, many ways that this can be extended, and I hope it can be helpful.
Yeah. So thank you for this short
Yeah.
interview. I'm sure that readers who are into this will enjoy it. So thank you for this.
Thank you for working with the book.